Herpa has for once been fast and released an aircraft model that barely has entered service in real life, but has the rush paid off. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we will take a closer look at an Airbus A350-1000 from British Airways. At the front of the box we have the cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the British Airways branding. Then on the back side of the box we have a very nice image where the aircraft was just rolled out for the first time from the factory in Toulouse. And notice this little detail at the winglets. More about that later in this episode. And here she is, the Airbus A350-1000, the longest version of the Airbus A350 in the current livery of British Airways. Now, with no further ado, let's take a closer look at some of the many details this aircraft model has to offer, and we start off with the tail section where we can find the British Airways branding on the vertical stabilizer. On top of the stabilizer we then have the last three letters of the registration code. The full registration code we find on the fuselage. Next to that we have the logo of the British Royal Mail. At the front of the aircraft we find the British Airways branding again across the fuselage, where we also have the One World logo, of which British Airways of course is a member. At the very front around the cockpit we of course have the very recognizable black coloring around the cockpit windows. We have the window wipers and we have the last three letters of the registration code above the cockpit windows. On the other side we can then also see that we also have the emergency hatch for the cockpit printed on as well. The engine nacelles have been given the same dark bluish color as the belly of the aircraft, and the engine nacelles are quite decently detailed. Here we can see at the back side, I think that looks pretty alright. Of course, if you look in the front, we can see the engines with the engine fan blades. Now moving on to the landing gear, we can see here underneath the wings the main landing gear. I think that looks pretty decent. A funny little detail is of course that the longest version of the A350 needs 3 pairs of wheels on each side, while the competition with the 787-10 from Boeing only needs 2. And also the front landing gear looks pretty decent. Of course we could have a few markings, but as always that's only for club models. Then we should move on to the wings, because they are also very nice, especially here on the top side where we have all the different flaps, slats and spoilers carved out very nicely, and we also have the markings as to where to walk on the wing. On the underside we also have some nice detailing, including the full registration code of the aircraft once again. Very nice on the wings are also the winglets, but remember the picture that you saw on the box in the beginning? Now, the aircraft in real life has the British Airways branding on those. In this case, we don't. And I think that's simply because Herpa was rushing so much to get this model out on time, or British Airways very short notice changed the livery slightly, and Herpa simply hadn't time to adapt. And then last but not least, we also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on. Here we can see them on the back side of the aircraft, and here we can see them at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A350-1000 in the current livery of British Airways. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, I think it is an excellent aircraft model. The print quality is really good, the physical details are also great. Of course, there is the missing detail on the winglets. I think in this case it's forgivable, given that they managed to release this aircraft model pretty much around the time that this aircraft actually entered service with British Airways. And I wouldn't be surprised if Herpa at some point later down the line would release a second version of this aircraft model, and then with an updated livery. So if you see this missing detail as a deal breaker, then I guess you should wait. If not, then I would say it's definitely an aircraft worth having in one's collection. Now with that, we've reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then smash the like button. That would really help out the series and the channel. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. And with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.